morning. I'm Mayor Tommy Roberts, and welcome back to the Mayor's Table. My guest again this morning is City Manager Rob Mays. Rob, we have some construction going on at City Hall, and I've had a handful of people contact me and inquire what is going on, and they're very interested in what's happening up here.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the construction.
Yeah, this project actually has been going on quite some time in two phases. The first was the construction of a new parking lot area out there, and now the construction of the new entrance. So essentially we are addressing two challenges, the so-called kill two birds with one stone. The first is operational efficiency and expansion of our city clerk's office. We have a small staff of 3 in the clerk's office, but they're spread out over 2 different buildings. And by expanding their office, and it's going to allow us to put all 3 of them together to consolidate that office into one work group. And it's going to allow us to maintain the small staff that we have there without having to add staff. So in that respect, there's an operational efficiency that actually, when you start talking about workflows and having people working together and avoiding hiring a staff member, that adds up to real savings that's recurring. Obviously, our most expensive ongoing recurring expense is, of course, our wages and benefits for employees. So that's the first thing, to get our entire clerk's office together working in one building. The second has to do with security upgrades and securing our buildings and our employees. And about 10 years ago, maybe more like 8 years ago, we did a security audit that was brought about by the ever-increasing episodes of violence in institutions, whether it be schools, churches, governments, domestic violence that spills over into the workplace violence, active shooters. And this, unfortunately, has become a part of the landscape of our culture. So about 8 years ago, we did an audit, and we started incrementally working through buildings all over the city to try to increase security and provide a means for our employees to be safer. The number one area that the audit showed that we could do would be to eliminate multiple entrances to buildings. If you go to a typical government building today or a school building, you're channeled into one central place where you're greeted by a receptionist. Depending on what kind of a facility it is, if you go to the schools, you have to be ID'd, have to have your picture taken before you can get out of that secure lobby. Or you go into any typical city building or city hall or state building, you come into one door, and then from there you go to the places you need to be. We have about 4 entrances to this building. So what we're doing is we're constructing essentially one main new entrance and lobby for City Hall. That'll be clear for citizens to know where to go. It's actually a little confusing right now. People don't always know where to park or where to go. They'll all come through one new visitor parking area into a front door where they'll be met by a receptionist, and then we'll be helped to find the office that they're looking for. We have people wander into your office all the time looking for municipal court or looking for some other office, so we'll be able to help people find where they're looking for.
We currently have entrances at the east end and near the west end. Will those be eliminated then in this security plan?
Yes. So all the other doors will be locked, and they'll be for employees only, and all visitors will enter through the main front lobby and the main visitor parking area.
When you first began to describe what's going on at City Hall, you referred to the construction of the parking lot on the south side of the facility, on the municipal side. And now that was related to the Americans with Disabilities Act, was it not?
Well, I guess I misspoke. We actually killed 3 birds with one stone. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So this building also was audited for compliance with federal requirements for handicap space and proper entrances. And so we actually were able to deal with that problem as well, create the new parking and facilitate the one main entrance.
Some concerns were expressed to me during that phase of the construction process that we were tearing out grass to put down pavement, and I tried to explain that it was done in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it was going to make it much easier for people to access the
That's
building.
right. Yeah, that's right.
And it's proved, I think, to be true. It's much easier for now for people with disabilities to get into the building.
Yeah, it will
But
be.
Under the configuration that we'll have after this construction is complete, those with disabilities will come in the same way everybody else does at the center part of the
That's right.
building.
Everybody that come into a main lobby, they'll be greeted there by a receptionist who will determine what office they're looking for. And if they have an appointment, they'll be buzzed through to that office. If they don't, someone from that office will come down and greet them and determine what their needs are and escort them to the place that they need to be. We're always trying to balance the access the public has to elected officials and to city staff, balance it with safety and common sense.
When is it that the construction project is predicted to be completed?
We're probably at least 6 weeks from full completion out there, although they're ahead of schedule and ahead of budget.
Mm-hmm. And that leads into the discussion of what it's costing to accomplish these improvements and the source of that funding.
The cost is about $200,000, and the source of it is general fund resources. It's a budgeted item that we budgeted this year.
Some people in the community have suggested over time that this facility here, the City Hall complex, is old, probably could be replaced in its entirety, either here or at a different location. Budgetarily, that's next to an impossibility to do. Current economic times don't allow a lot of latitude with big projects of that kind, so we're in the mode of really renovating where we can. We're undertaking some projects that are dealing with aged infrastructure. The Civic Center is one of those, but we had a dedicated funding source to deal with the renovation and expansion of the Civic Center. We don't have a similar source designated for some project like replacement of the City Hall complex or a complete renovation of it. Do we have any other phases of renovation of City Hall that are planned?
Yeah, I'd say two things about that. I mean, we have many old buildings that we are taking good care of and are getting all the use we can out of them. Probably our highest priority to actually replace a building is probably our police station. It's probably in the worst condition of all of our buildings, and one that there's a lot of interest in when the resources are there at looking at replacing. I think we're probably committed to living in this one for a while. Some of the capital improvements that we're doing in a lot of our old buildings, we did an episode of the Mayor's Table about our energy audit and upgrades where we're actually a third party is guaranteeing the savings that will be generated from changing out air conditioners, heaters, boilers, lights. Like these lights have all been replaced now to be LED lights. And that's actually being paid for by the savings that's guaranteed from the change of electricity. This building, what we would have left to do, we've now done the parking lot for the ADA and to facilitate the central entrance. We've done the upgrade and expansion of the clerk's office and to allow us to move all of our clerk staff together. What's left, this one is kind of a facelift of the outside, removing those old cans that are on the front of the building, putting a new facade across a lot of the old area where it's discolored, power cleaning the bricks, and then another needed addition someday would be to expand the executive conference room. That's where the city council meets for work sessions, but that room is used for all kinds of different meetings. So kind of a facelift to the whole front would be our goal when the funding is available. We've kind of stuck now with the functional things that had to be done for operations and or to meet federal requirements, and kind of the aesthetic things are kind of waiting as a priority.
Well, it's necessary that we make progress in some cases one step at a time, and unfortunately we're not in a position where we can take on very major renovation or replacement projects. But we always have our fingers crossed that the economy will improve and maybe some of those wish list projects can be completed in the future.
Yeah.
Rob, is there anything else you'd like to add on this topic?
No, I don't think so.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your updating us on what's happening. Again, I've had a number of people call me or communicate with me in another way, inquiring about what's going on. I find that I'm surprised sometimes that people pay as much attention as they do to what's happening. But when they see that physical change, it's very much of interest.
It's
to
pretty
people.
noticeable out there right now because the whole front is cut off that building and chained off with a fence. So
Thanks again.
yeah.
We want to thank you for joining us once again at the Mayor's Table, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next Monday.